So you just think it's about to calm down in the stock market, and it's not happening. There's some big moves coming this week in the stock market, and today I thought I'd point a few of those big moves that will happen this week in the stock market so you guys are prepared for them when they do come around. So as always, hope this video is useful and informal for the week ahead, and if you could hit that like button, really helps the video out there in the YouTube algorithm. But let's get started on some of the stocks to watch this week. So the first thing to point out, and this probably will mean that the stocks might be a little bit more muted on Monday, and in fact there might be a little bit of selling on Monday just in preparation for this news, but on Tuesday, on the 14th, we are going to get the next batch of inflation data coming out. So this is the inflation data for October. Now, if you have a look at the inflation rate at the moment, we've been a little bit flat at the moment in the inflation rate because we've seen oil increase. Now, because of the increases in oil, inflation, or the inflation rate, has gone from 3 to 3.2 to 3.7, and it's held there for the last 2 months. So we've not really seen much improvement in the last few months because, like I say, oil has been going up. Now, what we are going to see this month in the inflation rate is it's finally going to start coming back down again. So we're actually going to go from 3.7 to the consensus at the moment is 3.3. Now, this is trading economics forecast. We will actually see the consensus from other analysts in a little bit, but it should be somewhere around the 3.3 mark. It's normally either 0.1 higher or lower, but it gives you a kind of an estimate what to be looking out for on Tuesday. But this is a very good move into the right direction. And also considering the forecast only, last week was actually 3.8. So this is really good improvement. And like I said, we're not having much of this priced into the market at the moment as well, which is quite surprising. So by the time we get November's data and December's data in January, there is hope we are finally going to see, even though we were really close in June time and it feels like we've gone nowhere since, we should get really close to finally hitting that 2% mark. Now, the big thing is that sometimes, or the Fed in particular, and what a lot of people will reference, is they won't actually use the inflation rate, they will use core inflation, so it takes out the volatility of the energy market. Now, when you look at the core inflation rate, that trend has basically been continuing because obviously where oil has gone up in the last few months, that's not actually used in the core inflation rate. Now, the only bad news with the core inflation rate is, as you can see here, last month we went from 4.3 to 4.1. This month it is currently forecast to be 4.1 and the consensus is 4.1. So there's going to be, the suggestion is there's going to be no improvement in core. Now, trading economics do have it as a slight drop, so we do definitely want to see, we don't want to see an increase, because even if it's just above by 0.1%, you watch the headlines will be out there going, oh no, inflation's going up, the Fed's going to increase rates again, and that's not what we don't want to see that. We don't want to see the Fed increasing interest rates into 2024. We want to see inflation down in 2024, move on from that. We want to see the Fed stop increasing interest rates, and we want to see a positive market sentiment return in 2024. And if this does spook investors a little bit, I think that they'll get worried that the Fed are going to increase. So we definitely don't want to see an increase here. Everyone will make a big deal out of it in the media. 4.1 would be okay, but if we can hit the floor, the 4% range, and see that downtrend continue, that would be very good, and the market should get into the threes. That would be very good to see. Now, as you can see here, oil, like I said, the oil has been making a big downward move. Actually, it's just refreshed, so let me just go back on that. So if you look here, oil has been downtrending recently through October, and actually if we look into November, as you can see here, we've headed back towards $70, which is very good to see. And if we get the November data in December, I generally think we will see inflation rate hit 2%, not on a core basis, but on a normal inflation rate. I think we will hit 2% next month. That'll be very good. And what do we have? We have the Fed that will be putting the final interest rate hike out in December, and we'll have one more batch of data the day before on the inflation point of view. And as we've seen, they said they're going to do one more interest rate hike in December, and that'll be a big sign that if they do that, then the market will move into 2024 in a negative sentiment. If they actually don't hike up the interest rates, everybody in the market will definitely rally into the back end of December as people think inflation and the interest rate hikes are done, and there will be a lot more positive sentiment. So I think that's going to be a really big build. What we have this week, and when we get the data in December, are going to be massive builders if we're going to have a positive sentiment or negative sentiment in 2024. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, Friday, Diageo came out with some numbers and the market were not happy with the numbers. In fact, they're not happy because it was a profit warning. So Diageo had a big drop on Friday. And you can see from this article here, Guinness owner Diageo suffers steepest share fall since 1997 after profit warning. So they basically came out and said they have seen some weakness and they did downgrade their profit. Now, it's been quite common to see these big falls out there. You know, there's a lot of stocks out there that have just massively dropped. And if you look at Diageo, a company that people would refer to as, you know, one of those safe holdings in your portfolio, even a stock like this, you know, is down 28%, which is a big fall for a company like this. And you see here, when you look on a share price point of view now, we are kind of getting towards those kind of CV times. We're not exactly there, but we're getting quite close to them sort of CV times. And you can see here that we are around prices that we were at in 2018, which is unbelievable to see. Now, it does still trade at 17 times earnings and it does still pay a 2.8% dividend yield. And we actually covered this on the Patreon a few weeks ago, and I said that I quite like Diageo as a company, but I would like to see it a bit cheaper. Obviously, now that we've had a 12% drop, that does make it a little bit cheaper. I think still I would like it to go even more lower if it could. Now, obviously, we have seen some weakness and the environment out there in the economy isn't showing that much sign of improvement. So I think that if we have a weak Christmas period, potentially we do see one more profit warning in this kind of company, and if it does have another profit warning, maybe then we do get to some attractive levels, but definitely one to put on a watch list for now. The next stock to keep an eye on is Revolution Beauty. So they're finally doing a financial update. So they're going to be doing an update on Tuesday, the 14th of November, which is going to be a very busy day on the market because there's a few things that I'm actually looking out for that are going to be coming out on the 14th of November. But they're going to be posting their interim results. Now, as you guys know, this is a stock that I've held for around about a year. I bought this after the account issues and thought, you know what, if they can resolve these account issues, this stock is actually a really attractive value and especially a really good brand as well. And if you look at that time frame since I did buy the stock, I'm actually up over 50% on this position. But as always, you don't get any compliments for making money or being up on a stock. You only get hounded when you go down on a stock or sell a stock for a loss. Gang is a prime example. But Revolution Beauty is a stock that I am doing quite well on at the moment after buying this dip as a bit of a turnaround play. Now, obviously, there's been a big drama between Boohoo and Revolution Beauty. They've been going back and forth on RNSs and everything like that. But what shocked everyone is Revolution Beauty a few months ago, I think it was June time, came out with a update and said they're growing absolutely rapid. I can't remember what growth they actually put on there, but I think it was something like 60% revenue growth. And they went, hold on, you told us you were going to grow like 10% this year. And everyone was like, so there's a big difference between growing 10% and 60%. And that's the same for me. Like if this is going to grow 10% a year, I'm actually going to take my profit off the table and go sell it and go buy another stock if it's growing at that rate. But if this is growing 60+%, this is a different story. This company is going to be valued a lot more, and as long as it can drive up that profitability as well, this stock will do really well, and I'll hold this for the longer term. So we're kind of waiting to see, like, was that a one-off? Are they growing at 60%, or are they going to grow more towards what they said they're going to do, 10%? So we're kind of waiting for some more concrete information on this here. If the company does come out and say, oh, we're only going to grow at, let's say, or if the post growth of like 10-20%, I'm probably going to sell this stock. If it's a lot higher, I'm probably going to hold this stock. So this is a big update for me because it decides whether or not I kind of take my profit here, or if I start holding this for a longer term. But the weird thing I've got to say with Revolution Beauty, it's always strange how before the results, and we saw this with the account issues before, like we knew the account issues, the share price kept dropping and dropping before even the account issue came out there. And right now we start to see the company that in the last kind of week really has seen a big ramp up before their interim results. I don't know if that's people just getting excited and buying in already, or is once again is the kind of like we saw with the accounts issue that seemed to get leaked to the market before it was public knowledge. Are we seeing again this company kind of having the interim results being leaked out there before it's public knowledge? we'll find out. If the accounts are definitely good on Tuesday, then I start to have the feeling that someone out there is getting information before it comes to the market's knowledge here, which would not surprise me because it's not the only company that kind of goes on there, but something to kind of keep an eye on. I mean, really, Revolution Beauty should do the numbers that Warpaint has been doing. Warpaint being an absolute amazing stock in the last year on the UK market. Warpaint, if you look at the recent update, I think they only posted this a few days ago. Yeah, the 10th of November, and if you actually look at the trading update, strong performance. They say that they upgraded the guidance, group sales to be at least 85 million compared to last year, 64 million. And they said that the key period, obviously Christmas sales as well, and saying everything else is going absolutely amazing. Profit hike up as well, you can see here from last year, 7.7 million to 16 million. Makeup brands have been going insane in this last year. No signs of recession in makeup brands at all. So, you know, you look at Warpaint's number. If Warpaint are doing this, I would expect something similar from Revolution Beauty. Not to them sort of levels maybe, but definitely some good numbers here. So that's why if I see slower growth than a lot slower growth than Warpaint, then I probably reassess the position. So we'll see what happens there. Another big one, DraftKings, obviously my largest position in the stock market. Once again, up 217% year to date. Obviously, once again, you get no credit for the stocks that you're up on at all when you do YouTube. You only get criticized for the stocks that you're down on, gang, once again, but there you go. So DraftKings is going to host their virtual investor day. Now, the feeling is they're going to give some long-term guidance on the company, which sometimes does make me a little bit nervous. I hope they don't give guidance by year, and I hope it's just a like long-term or medium-term target of 3 and 4 years and what they expect to hit. Now, the key thing that I think a lot of people will be looking at is profitability. I think a few people are expecting them to say what the long-term profitability vision is, and if it's below the market expectation, then I think the shares could have a tumble on Tuesday. If it is a bit higher than what the market is expecting, then obviously we should see a bit of a rally. I think that's what's probably going to move it overall, but hopefully there's some good information there. I probably will do a full video breaking down the investor day on the YouTube channel. I'm hopefully going to do it on Tuesday. The only issue that is going to be is they are doing it at 10 a.m. Switch that to UK time, 3-4. It's going to be 2 hours long, 5 o'clock. Then I won't get home from work until probably about 5:30ish. So I don't know if I'll be able to get a recording of the video that quickly after it's happened, go through it, then do the video, put all the details up, upload it, edit it. I don't know if I can get that turned around for Tuesday, so it might end up being a Wednesday video. We'll see what happens there. It's going to be a bit tight on that one, so if it's not Tuesday or Wednesday, if it's not Tuesday, then expect it maybe on the Wednesday, but just a little bit of a heads up there. Earnings, a lot of companies that are going to report earnings, and we are towards the back end now. We're about 85% done, but there's definitely a few more interesting ones still on the list that are going to be coming up. We've got Monday, we've got Tyson, we've got Rumble that I forgot was even a public company, Home Depot, Sea Limited. I know a few people are going to be looking at that one. A few people have seen that stock. I mean, look at that. It was the one of the darlings of the stock market only 2 years ago. Nearly a 10-bagger within 2 years. Had a big reality check on the share price, as you see here. The stock is down from its highs in November 2021, only 2 years ago now. Down 87%, and a few people now I can see are trying to think that's a bit of a bottom of the stock. They seem to be changing the game plan up. They seem to be going, oh yeah, we're more revenue focused. No, we're more profit focused. And I think they give a lot of conflict. From what I know, I've got limited knowledge here, so might not be 100% correct, but it seems like they're being given the market a mixed message if they're focused on revenue or profit growth, and I think the market is looking for the direction of where the company's going. On the close, we've got a few companies that are also going to be reporting on the Wednesday. Target, this is one that I'm massively watching. Target is in my top 5 watch list at the moment. I would like it to go a little bit cheaper than 14 times earnings. 12 times earnings would be amazing. Obviously, the dividend then would go a little bit higher, but Target at the moment is having to sell things at a lot more discounted prices because of how the consumer sentiment is out there. But it's not often you get Target on a 58% dip. Now, obviously, as you can see here, there was a bit of a boom that went on after the whole 2020 situation. So it seems to be coming back down to reality after the boom in the CV times. But if we do get to a point where it does get to a lot lower than where it was before CV prices, that obviously comes very interesting, and obviously not a stock that will ever go ballistic in your portfolio, but it's a stock that I look at and go, Is it a very steady performer that will offer good upside on the share price and a good dividend yield? I think so. I think you'll be able to get some good share price performance if you get this at 11, 12 times earnings, and also you'll be picking up a pretty decent dividend in there as well. So Target is definitely one that I'm kind of watching that will be reporting this week because it is a little higher up on my watch list at the moment. On the Thursday after the close, we've got the likes of Walmart, Macy's that are going to be reporting, but the big one for me is going to be Alibaba, obviously a stock that I own. Seems to be a little bit of a bottom being created in Alibaba at the moment. Hasn't really done much now for around about a year, maybe even a year and a half. You'd say the stock's been pretty flat. Obviously, it has been a stock that has had a big reality check on the share price. Probably a bit too much considering the whole CV and China lockdowns now, and also the pressure of the Chinese government on them. I think you would suggest this is just way too low now. Obviously, it's even lower than where it was on an IPO basis. Down 11% since its IPO in 2014, which is just absolutely crazy. So yeah, I obviously am a shareholder of Alibaba. I have been really liking this stock at these sort of levels. Last time it reported good earnings, and you can see here the EPS was a beat by 0.39, and the revenue was growth was of 14%, which was fantastic. Had no reflection on the share price, which is just absolutely bonkers. But yeah, we'll see if they can put out some decent numbers once again, and if they are pretty good, then I probably will nibble some shares in the next coming few weeks. So we'll see what happens there. So yeah, still a busy week with a lot of stuff going on in the market, with inflation, some earnings to keep an eye on, and obviously a few companies I own that are going to be doing some updates as well. There's a couple of trading updates as well of companies I own that I've not even put on this video either, which is obviously I'll identify any of them on the Patreon for you guys as well, because there's a few of them that are going to be happening as well. But yeah, pretty interesting week overall. Just when you think it's going to be getting a little bit quieter, it's a pretty busy week anyway. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you could hit like button, if you're around here, subscribe, and I'll see you in a bit.